Djimmi is definitely one of the more intense bosses in the game. On expert difficulty, he bombards you with multiple attacks that you have to dodge well to keep your S rank. But fear not, because this video will enlighten you on how to S rank Djimmi the Great. Since this is a plain boss, only your charm matters for your loadout, and like for every plain boss, Divine Relic is the charm I'd heavily recommend you use. All the charm effects you acquire completely trumps the negative of your weapon switching every time you stop shooting. Getting good at managing the weapon switching with Divine Relic makes Divine Relic by far the best charm for plain levels, so I advise getting good at it if you have the DLC. If you don't have the DLC, then I recommend using Coffee. Since Djimmi has a lot of phases and opportunities to use your EX and Super, Coffee will really help speed up the process of beating Djimmi, especially since the time requirements can be quite difficult to achieve. With everything set up, let's talk about S-ranking Djimmi the Great. So, the first phase is quite a lot and really determines how hard this may be for you. Some attacks are easier than others, but they're all kind of a pain in the butt, so you're gonna have to find out what you're the best at going against, and hell, restart the fight if you want until you get the attack you want. I try to stick to whatever RNG has in store for me, but restarting is definitely a viable strategy if you really want the S rank. Anyways, let's start with the scimitar attack. Scimitars will come out of the chest one at a time that line up on one of the sides of the screen. After, they'll spin and eventually launch towards you, and they'll keep on coming out of the chest while you're busy dodging other scimitars, so this attack may be a bit overwhelming to say the least. There's also the sarcophagi attack with the cats, and the chest with valuables that spew out at you. The sarcophagi get sent out and randomly stop and spawn a couple of cats that follow you, but for whatever reason there will be a stray third cat that spawns in a little later. It's very confusing and is what really makes this attack annoying to go against. And lastly, you'll just have to constantly dodge the valuables for the normal chest attack. There aren't really any tricks for any of these attacks, so you're kind of on your own for this phase. And that's not even to mention the skull attack that happens twice during this phase, once near the beginning and once near the end. I mean, at least there are plenty of chances for parries during this phase, but otherwise, this is all on the player to dodge correctly. After dealing with all that BS in the first phase, you'll eventually enter the second phase, which is luckily a lot easier. In this phase, you have to traverse through a side-scrolling section with pillars blocking the way ahead. Sections of the pillars can be destroyed so you can keep going forward, and my tip is to use bombs near the top of the screen so the bombs fall down, and they'll typically hit sections of the pillars for you. Otherwise, make sure to shrink while going through each section to be careful. There are also saw blades that bounce around in each area, so just take your time between sections and you'll surely get past this phase quite easily. And luckily again, the third phase is even easier than the previous two. He'll turn into a sarcophagus and whatever this is, and he'll only do 2 attacks. He'll shoot 2 ringed eyeballs that bounce in a wave-like motion, and he'll also send out mummies across different areas of the screen. This whole phase is extremely easy to beat. All you have to do is stay near the top of the screen and throw bombs down. That's literally all I've had to do to get past this phase. And for real, I don't even know how, but I've gotten past this phase in literally 5 seconds, so I'm telling you, this phase is really easy, and you could make this even easier if you super at the beginning. You realistically shouldn't have any problems during this phase, so just stay near the top, spam bombs, and you'll get past this phase in like max 10 seconds. So now we get around to the fourth phase, which amps the difficulty back up a bit, but you can definitely manage this phase with enough practice. During this phase, you're gonna have to deal with the Cuppet and the Turban, which both spam bullets at you. The Cuppet will move around a bit, stop, and then shoot a random amount of bullets towards you. And the Turban essentially does the same thing, but follows you periodically until it stops completely and spews bullets in 4 directions while turning counterclockwise. I recommend baiting the Turban into a corner of the screen, or really as far away from you as you can, and focus all your attention on dodging everything. All you have to do now is hold P shooter and be generally around the center of the screen to continuously deal damage to the Cuppet, and parry the guaranteed pink bullet every 4th shot. Make sure to use your EXs and Super as well, and you can get past this phase with little trouble. Last but not least is the last phase where you finally fight Djimmi himself. He'll turn into a giant version of himself with 3 eye pyramids revolving around the center of the playable area. Djimmi will occasionally shoot a transparent ring attack that travels slowly across the screen, so just simply move out of the way for this attack. Eventually, one of the eye pyramids will open its eye, and after a short time, fire 4 beams and a cross. That's all you have to deal with for the last phase, and it can be reasonably beaten without much struggle. It's all about positioning yourself well for each of the pyramid's attacks, and of course, easily dodging whatever Djimmi throws at you. That's why some may save their super for this phase so they can easily beat it faster. So hey, do what you want to do, and that's all there is to S-ranking Djimmi the Great. This is one of those bosses that don't actually have easy tricks to beating the fight easily, so practice and familiarity are probably the most important factors for this fight. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Divine Relic can make this so much easier since you have extra cards for more EXs and supers, more HP from parries, and Smoke Bomb to dodge the many projectiles during the fight. Thank you all for watching. If this video helped you out in any way, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing the video to help out others and the channel. And with that, I'll see you all in the next video.